I'm Kristen Cho.
And I'm Cameron Word.
Yes. So good to see you always.
Yes.
I sometimes suffer from migraines.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Not often, but there are occasions.
Yes.
And I feel like when I don't eat something right or when I'm too tired. But recently I had a case of brain fog.
Oh,
And this doesn't happen often, but boy, I was just like...
Out of it.
Out of it.
Not able to concentrate.
Yeah.
Brain fog is whenever you're not sick. You're not like on medication. Well, maybe you're on medication.
It's not painful.
It's not painful. It's just like your brain feels like it's in mud.
It can't focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just everywhere. Oh, I have that a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and doctors are saying that like modern folks suffer from this all the time. And I recently had an episode and I was like, wow, this is what it feels like.
'Cause you never get it?
I don't get it very often.
I get it like every day. I live in the brain fog. The brain fog is my home. Clarity is vacation for me.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. All right. Guys, we are talking about food today, winter soups. I don't really follow a recipe. I find that people who are like really good cooks kind of just make things and they taste good.
Yeah, they just feel it.
Yeah. Like put things together, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Okay. Or it could be I don't follow a recipe and it's terrible. Yeah. Okay. Throw something together. And this is kind of a way of cooking.
Yeah, this is when you're often cooking something and you're not really being very careful.
Yeah.
You're just kind of very quickly, blah, 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 blah. Just making something.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good, probably.
Right.
Just quickly do something.
That's right. Swap out something or someone for someone or something. So basically, swap out A for B.
This means to substitute. Oh, no, I don't have time. Then I'll use basil instead.
Ah, okay, like an herb.
Yeah, an herb. Like you don't have the herb that you need, so use another herb.
Okay. And finally, while you're at it.
So this means you're already doing one action, so just add an extra action. Yeah, it's a bonus action.
Since you're doing this, do this too. Okay, let's go ahead and listen to our dialogue.
My mother asked me to get your recipe for the chili you brought over yesterday.
So she liked it? That's great. But I don't really follow a recipe.
You mean you just throw it together? Maybe you can just write a rough estimate for her.
Sure, and I'll give her options too. She can swap out pork for beef, for example.
While you're at it, can you give me your recipe for potato and leek soup?
I think I'll have to write a cookbook at this point.
Okay, so let's look at this dialogue. Mason says, my mother asked me to get your recipe for the chili you brought over yesterday. So, basically, Mason's mother loved Bethany's chili.
Chili.
Yeah. And speaking of chili, I know someone, and she said she had lived in Canada for a few months with like a family stay, homestay, and they would always be making chili. And so when she sees chili, she thinks of Canada. And I'm like, you do know that chili kind of started around like the Texas area? Or isn't it a southern thing?
I don't know the origin.
Yeah.
It feels southern. I mean, I ate it a lot as a kid.
Right.
Like my mom had a chili recipe.
Sure.
We have like chili competitions.
Oh, yeah, right.
So chili, so that we're not confused, we're not talking about chili peppers.
Yeah.
There is a stew in the United States where it's beans and meat and it's a tomato-y type of stew.
Right.
And
maybe you've had chili fries.
Yeah, chili fries, stuff like that. I mean, our church, they would have competitions. All the ladies in the church would make their version of chili.
Right. Chili's a very big thing in American culture. It really is. Okay, so Bethany's like, oh, so she liked it? That's great, but I don't really follow a recipe. Power pattern today is that's great, but.
Yeah.
So that's great, but.
Yeah. This is kind of like you're delivering bad news.
Yeah.
Or like, not bad news, but maybe disappointing news.
Yeah.
So Bethany's almost like, oh, thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
However, I cannot help you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what does Mason say?
You mean you just throw it together? Maybe you can just write a rough estimate for her.
Okay. So Mason's like, what? You don't have a recipe?
Yeah.
You just throw it together? So throw it together. In the context, usually used in the context of cooking.
Yes.
Okay. I just threw something together. What does this mean?
This means that and when you're talking about cooking, to throw something together means that you are cooking something, but you're not being exact with any of your measurements. And you probably change the recipe every time. You kind of just open up your cabinet.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got this. And I've got this.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can make something.
Right, right. And so I find that people who are good cooks, often they open the refrigerator and they throw something together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here, it's, is it just food though, Cameron?
No, you can throw a party together.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes, like last minute, oh, we need to have a birthday party for...
Oh, no.
For Kristen. Okay, you get the cake. I'll buy some decorations. Hey, Tommy, you blow up the balloons. Let's just do something.
Okay, we'll just throw it together.
Planning something very quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
And even in the office, you can actually throw a presentation together.
Yeah.
Last minute.
Oh, we have like an hour before the boss gets the report.
Right. We gotta do something. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What is estimate? ESTIMATE.
Yes.
A rough estimate.
Yes. So here, Mason is asking Bethany to just kind of give a guess as to what you use.
Yeah.
So with the recipe, they're probably wanting how much meat did you use? What type of beans did you use? How many peppers? How many cans of tomatoes? And he's saying, oh, well, if you don't know the exact number, just kind of give me a basic approximation.
Yeah.
Just like a...
Yeah. 대충.
대충.
It's a kind of 대충.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. Bethany says, sure, I'll give her options too. She can swap out pork for beef, for example. Okay. So she's going to write down a few choices that she can, make.
Yes.
She doesn't always have to use pork.
Yes.
She can use beef.
Although in a chili... I don't know if I've had pork chili.
I know. It's usually beef.
Usually always beef.
Beef, that's right.
Yeah.
If you swap out A for B,
yes,
it means substitute.
Substitute, yeah, to change for something else.
So instead of using the pork, you use the beef. Instead of using the beef, you use the chicken.
Yeah. Chicken chili?
Oh, no.
Although, I've had turkey chili.
Oh.
And that was pretty good.
Yeah, because they have turkey ground.
Yeah, ground turkey.
Ground turkey.
Right? Yeah.
That's right.
I've also had
why.
deer chili. Sasam chili.
Sasam chili?
Yeah.
How does that taste?
It has a lot of tamne. It has that gamey,
I can't,
smell to it.
Oh, I can't eat that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I've had, what is it, 멧돼지? The hog, the wild hog.
The wild hog.
Yeah. Had that before.
Wow.
That is also not pleasant. I'm not a fan of animals that live in the forest. Also, squirrel chili. Yeah.
And also, in certain parts, southern parts, they eat raccoons, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Raccoons. Noguri chili.
Yeah, noguri. Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
What does Mason say?
While you're at it, can you give me your recipe for potato and leek soup?
Okay, so while you're at it, what does this mean?
So it's like 하는 김에. Like you're already doing this one thing.
Okay.
Why don't you do this too?
All right. So here you're showing me how to make chili. How about giving me your recipe for the soup?
Wow, Mason is asking a lot of
questions. Well, I feel like Bethany is probably a very good cook. And so Mason is trying to get as much information from her as possible.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go ahead and read that one more time.
My mother asked me to get your recipe for the chili you brought over yesterday.
So she liked it? That's great. But I don't really follow a recipe.
You mean you just throw it together? Maybe you can just write a rough estimate for her.
Sure, and I'll give her options too. She can swap out pork for beef, for example.
While you're at it, can you give me your recipe for potato and leek soup?
I think I'll have to write a cookbook at this point.
It's time for Power Note. We're on pages 100 and 101. Ooh. All right, throw something together. It feels like you have no plans.
Yeah.
You see what you have, you put it together, and you make a meal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Mike and Patty are coming over soon. Do we have any food?
I'll just throw a plate of snacks together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that you have to make a soup. You can throw some snacks together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just like find whatever is in the house and do something with that.
Right, right. I feel like in Korea, you don't get invited to people's houses very often for like dinner or lunch.
I don't think it's as common.
Yeah.
And I do think, like, even if you go to a friend's house, or at least the Korean friends I've had, they just order food anyway.
They order food, right.
Which would be, maybe it's different now, but, for a long time when you invited someone to their house in the U.S., there was the expectation that
it was being home cooked.
They were going to cook for you.
Yeah, right, exactly. So these days, there are so many pre-made meals. Like, I don't know who really takes the time to make a homemade meal from scratch.
Oh, I don't know. I invite people all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to order a pizza?
Yeah, pizza, yeah. That's right. Okay. All right. So I threw together a birdhouse with scraps of wood I had in the garage. Oh, I just made a birdhouse with some wood.
Yeah. Okay. And the project probably took an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, if the project takes a long time...
It's not
even if you're... Yeah. So, like, I don't know, let's say women who make blankets, for example.
Yes.
They're maybe taking different pieces of fabric and trying to sew them together.
Yeah.
And it's a very, like, 대충 kind of thing. But it probably takes them... Oh, gosh, I don't know how, but it takes a long time to make a blanket.
Sure.
That would not be throwing it together.
Right.
Or, like, people who make computers and they're using different parts and they're finding things.
Right.
Yeah, maybe a little 대충.
Yeah.
But it's taking so long. I don't think I would call it, like, throwing together a computer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So when you use this expression, there is a feeling of that it's done quickly.
Yes, quickly with not all the parts that you would normally have. So you can also, you buy furniture and you put it together.
Yeah.
Because the parts are already there, even if you're doing it fast, I don't know if I'd call it throwing it together.
You just put it together.
You put it together quickly because you have the plan there.
Right.
There's kind of the feeling like you don't have the plan. Maybe you don't have all the parts.
The ingredients. You throw it together.
You just throw it together.
Very good. All right, swap out A for B.
Yes.
Okay. Substitute. Okay. Darn, this remote control isn't working.
Swap out the batteries for new ones.
True. If it's not working, you always check the batteries.
Yeah.
Halfway through the race, they swapped out their worn-out tires for new ones.
Yeah, car racing.
They get in there and like, wow, that's a science. Yeah, and they're, wow, they burned those tires.
Yep.
Okay.
So, staying in the kind of like sports realm, maybe you swap out players on the team.
Like,
on the soccer team.
Sure.
Like it's like, they've been playing for long enough, they're tired. Or hockey does this a lot.
Yeah.
Where they switch out players.
Yeah.
Basketball.
Right. I think a lot of people are swapping out their gas stoves to electric.
Induction, yeah.
Yeah, these
I
days.
do that, yeah.
I do too. I am tired of opening my windows, especially in winter when I'm cooking.
Yeah.
Because, the gas fills the room. You got to open your windows.
Oh, I just breathe the gas.
Oh, boy.
How much is a window going to change? Let's be honest.
A lot.
I don't know.
Well, you don't do that much cooking.
If your oven is next to the window, maybe. But my window is on the other side of the room. So I have to smell all the gas, even if the window's open.
Okay.
It's like a good 20, 30 meters.
All right.
Yeah.
Or just don't cook.
See?
Okay,
there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
So while we're at it, meaning while you're saying that or while you're doing that, do this. Okay. I'm going to the store to get some steaks for tonight.
While you're at it, can you get a bag of potatoes too? Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Your husband or wife, your boyfriend or girlfriend is going to the supermarket.
Yeah.
Hey, while you're at it, can you also get this for me?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, while you're at it, can you check the oil level?
Maybe you're fixing something in the car.
Right.
I feel like bosses like to use this. Like they already gave you an assignment.
They want to give you more work.
They want to give you more work.
Yeah.
Hey, while you're at it, why don't you do this extra thing that's going to take 5 more hours?
It's so true.
Yeah.
While you're at it, you know.
While you're at it.
And, and also, too, my son sometimes does this. And sometimes I do this to my son. So, like, okay, let me get you this, he's like, oh, Mom, while you're at it, can you get me some water?
Since you're going to the kitchen.
Yeah, since
while
you're
at it.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes when I'm at my desk and he goes to the kitchen, I'm like, oh, while you're at it, can you grab me a cup?
Oh. There's usually, never a good thing coming after this phrase, while you're at it.
While you're at
it's usually more work.
That's right. That's great, bud. Meaning, okay, good. I acknowledge what you say, and that's great. However.
But there's probably some bad or disappointing news or something.
So like, I got concert tickets. I won concert tickets. And then that's great, but when will the concert start?
Oh, no, it's after my bedtime. That's great, but I can't afford a vacation right now.
Yeah.
I'm glad I have time
to
go on a vacation.
Right.
I have time, but I don't have money.
I don't have money. And isn't that always true? You either have money, but you don't have time, but you have time, or you have no money.
Or you have time and money, but no energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Estimate is our power vocab. Do check out the definition on page 102. Let's thank our sponsor.
한국토익위원회에서 취업과 승진을 위한 토익 스피킹 형식 권해드립니다.